the testimony before we bring the jury and Mr. Sauter.
I have nothing, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Dye.
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Mr. Snow, so if we hit play, it'll play, right? All right.
Judge, your mic is a little staticky. I don't know if anybody else can hear that.
I don't know.
Oh, it's not anymore.
Don't start any mess with us. Please be seated. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are prepared for the playback of Ms. Lumsden's testimony. I've been assured that if we hit play, it'll play. So let's see. Ms. Lumsden, you could come forward and stand here, be sworn by my clerk, please. You can take the witness stand here. There's also a lapel mic in front of you. You can pick that up and place it on your collar through the clip. Place it high up on your collar so we'll be able to hear you, okay? Okay, state your name for the record, please.
Lynette Lumsden.
Excellent. Your witness, Mr. Sauter.
Thank you, Judge. I apologize if you just did this, Lynette. If you could state your full name and spell your last name for the record.
It's Lynette Lumsden, Lumsden.
Thank you. Lynette, I want to take you back to August 2nd of 2019. On that date, where were you living at that time?
I was living at 802 South Mason Street.
Okay, is that here in the city of Saginaw?
It is.
Also, at that time, did you have an on and off again relationship with Adante Harrison?
We did.
Okay. And in the early morning hours of August 2nd, 2019, where were you at and who were you with at that time?
I was in my driveway at home, and I was with Dante Harrison.
Okay. And can you recall roughly what time you would have been in your driveway at your house on that morning?
It had been roughly between like 12:30 a.m. and 1 a.m.
Okay.
That time.
And I guess prior to getting home or going home on that morning, were you out with Mr. Harrison prior to that?
Yes, we were.
And where were you guys at?
We were just riding around, figuring out something to do for the night because it was a weekend. And I went home to use the bathroom because I don't really like to use public restrooms. So I went home to use the restroom. That's why I went home.
Okay. And at the time you went home, when you were traveling there, where were you seated? And were you riding around in a vehicle? I apologize.
Yes, I was. And I was
Front passenger?
yes.
And what vehicle was that in?
It was a Buick, like a I can't remember the exact name, but it was like a light blue Buick.
Okay. Does the Sabre ring a
red.
bell?
Yes,
Okay. And at that time, who was that car registered to?
Dante Harrison.
Would you use that car though?
Yeah,
Okay. And who was driving at that time?
Dante Harrison.
And when you arrived home, did you ever go inside of the house?
I did use the restroom.
How long were you inside the house for?
Approximately like 3 minutes,
Okay, so rather quick.
rather quick.
And when you came out of side of the house, did you immediately get in the vehicle?
No,
Did you exchange some words with Mr. Harrison?
yeah, we were arguing a little bit, and then
Ladies and gentlemen, I've asked them to stop the playback because it's not synced with the witness's voice. So I don't know if that's bothering any of you, distracting any of you. I want you to be able to see everything properly. I don't know if they can even sync the voice with the movement. It's not synced right now, though.
he just was like, "Get in the car."
And did you then get in the car?
I did.
Again, what seat?
Passenger.
Front,
Front passenger.
front passenger. And at that time, was the music in the vehicle loud?
Yes, it was.
Okay. And at some point in time, how was the vehicle parked or in your driveway? Was it hood first closest to the house or the trunk?
The hood first, closest to the house.
So at some point, did Mr. Harrison start to reverse out of the driveway?
Yes,
Okay. And where you live on South Mason on that address, what street is your driveway on?
my driver's on William Street.
Is your house located at the intersection of South Mason and William Street?
Yes, on the corner.
And at some point in time, did the car stop reversing and go into drive or proceed forward?
Yes,
Okay, and where was the car headed to at that time?
we were proceeding to the stop sign on the corner of Mason and William.
And did there come a point in time when you noticed, I guess, what sounded like gunfire?
Yes,
Can you explain that, please?
I just heard gunfire, and then I turned the music down, and I was like, "Dante, they're shooting." And I was like, "Oh shit, they're shooting at us," because I seen sparks coming from the car, and I heard like it hit in the metal. Then it busted out the window. This window got shot out.
Was your adrenaline going at that point?
Crazy.
And did you realize at the beginning that you or your vehicle was being shot at?
I heard it first, and then I realized it when I seen it.
And what made it real? How did you know for sure that your vehicle was being shot at?
Because I seen the sparks coming from the car.
And eventually, was there damage to the front driver's window?
Yes,
What happened to that?
it got shot out.
Okay. And prior to the front driver's side window being shot out, did you notice or could you see anyone shooting at the vehicle?
Yeah, I seen someone running alongside the car with us.
And what side of the vehicle was that individual on?
Though it would have been the right side. The left side, I'm sorry.
Okay, is that the driver's side?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess at a point in time, as the firing was happening, did Dante ever tell you to look and see who was shooting?
Yes, he did.
Were you able to look and see who was shooting?
Yes.
At that point, when you looked, where did you look out of the vehicle?
I looked out of the shattered window.
Okay, so was there any window left at that point?
None.
Okay. And prior to the window being shattered, was there any tinted windows on that vehicle?
None.
Okay. And what did you observe when you looked out of that shattered window?
I observed Omar like this.
Okay. And just for the record, you're holding out your hand. Was anything in his hand at that time?
I'm more focused on him at the time.
Okay. And where, I guess, was he when you saw him holding out his arm like that?
We were like by the stop sign, and so he's like more by my house than me.
Uh-huh.
So I guess between the streets, like so on Mason, on South Mason.
And on that evening, do you have a front porch light on your house?
I keep a front porch light on.
Okay.
That evening as well.
Okay. And on that evening, is there a street light that's near where your vehicle was on the intersection of South Mason and Williams?
Yes, it's right above there.
And when you saw Mr. Morrow out the driver's side window, or the shattered window at that point, was he underneath or in any lighting at that time?
Yes, he would have been right underneath the street light.
Okay. And prior to August 2nd of 2019, how long did you know Omar Morrow for?
I've known Omar like 20 years.
Okay. Have you had a lot of, I guess, interactions and I guess, times that you might have hung out or seen him over those 20 years?
Oh, plenty of times.
And do you know if he had any relation to Dante Harrison?
I believe they had like mutual cousins or something like that.
Okay. And how far was Mr. Morrow when you could see him underneath that streetlight? Was he closer than I am right now to you, or this distance?
About approximately the same.
Okay. And if you were to see Omar again, would you recognize him?
Yes.
Is he in this room today?
Yes, he is.
Can you please point to where he's seated and what he's wearing for the record?
He's wearing I believe that's a black suit, got a tie on, white shirt.
Is it to my left?
Yes.
Your right?
My right, your left.
Judge, at this point, may the record reflect identification of the defendant?
It shall reflect.
Did you ever lock eyes with Mr. Morrow at that time?
I looked him in his face. I don't know if he looked me in mine, but I looked him in his face.
And as you're telling Dante that it's Omar,
I said, my exact words, it was Omar's bitch ass. That's what I said.
fair enough. Were you scared for your well-being at that point?
I was.
Okay. And where ultimately did Dante then drive away from the scene as you were being shot at?
Yes.
And what street or where would he have gone at that time?
We would have been, since we were at the stop sign, we would have been turning right onto South Mason.
Is that a one-way going to the right?
It is a one-way.
All right, thank you. And did you see or notice where the defendant was running or walking to at that time when you were turning on the South Mason?
He stayed straight on Williams.
Now, do you recall what the defendant was wearing?
He was wearing all black with a, and I also noticed like a white beater because it was hanging, because it was like loose or wore out or something like that.
And it was hanging. Did he have a piece of clothing on over top of it?
Yes, a black hoodie.
Okay.
And so the record is clear and the jury understands in case they don't. What do you mean when you say wife beater?
A white beater is like a white tank top, like a Hanes Fruit of the Loom tank top for male, for men.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see. What type of pants did he have on?
Black.
And do you recall the color of his shoes?
I would assume black because everything was so black.
Okay. Now, at that time, where did you guys go to after the shooting, you and Dante?
Well, we turned on to South Mason and we went on to North Webster
Okay. And why'd you go to North Webster at that time?
because I was having such a bad panic attack. Like I didn't know if I was gonna have to be rushed to the hospital just for my anxiety. So I was really trying to calm myself down.
Did you drop or eventually leave Dante on North Webster Street?
North Webster, yes, I did.
Excuse me, North Webster Street?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess why'd you drop him off or leave him there at that time?
Well, at the time we had a no contact order, so we wasn't supposed to be around each other.
Okay. And were you nervous that you could potentially get in trouble even though you were just shot at?
Yes, I was.
And did you call 911, I guess, after the shooting and after you had dropped off Mr. Harrison?
I did.
Okay. And roughly how long after the shooting did you call 911?
7 minutes to 10, maybe at the most.
And did you eventually meet with some officers from the City of Saginaw Police Department?
I did.
And where was that at?
At the Rite Aid on Gratiot.
Okay. And how long were you waiting there prior to the officers arriving?
Probably like 10 minutes, maybe.
Okay. And at that time, did you feel comfortable or safe going back to your house?
No, not until I didn't want to go there until the officers went with me.
Did you stay the night at your house that night?
No, I did not.
Where did you stay?
I stayed at the hotel
Okay. And was that, how come?
because I was scared to go home. I didn't know if he was going to come back to kill me.
Did you know where Omar was living at that time?
Yes, I did.
And where was that?
On Michigan. I would say, I think it's South Michigan, I believe.
Okay. How far from your house was the defendant's residence?
If you're driving, approximately 3 minutes.
Okay. So a rather short period.
We're very close.
And had the defendant ever been to your house prior to August 2nd of 2019?
Yeah, he's been to my house plenty of times.
Okay. Always at the 802 South Mason?
Yes. Well, he's been to previous addresses too, but my most recent address, yes.
Okay. Thank you. And Judge, if I may approach. Ms. Lumsden, I'm going to show you just a couple of photographs marked People's Proposed 17, 18, and 19. If you could go through these photographs and just describe what they represent, and if you could wait just so I come back to my mic, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
And Judge, if the Dow Event Center staff can give me some help, I'm just trying to figure out what HDMI the projection screen is on, but I can proceed in the meantime. Now, Lynette, can you see what was marked People 17 right there?
Yes, I see it.
What does that picture depict?
That's my side street of my house where my driveway is located on.
Okay, is it
William Street.
William Street? And kind of going further into the photo, as you're looking up, is that the intersection of South Mason and Williams?
It is.
Is that a daylight photo?
It is.
Nonetheless, is that a fair and accurate description of where the shooting took place?
Yes.
Okay. If you can describe, and I'll come and show it here eventually, but And I'll have you, I guess I'll just describe it at that point. If you could then flip to number 18, the one behind it. Again, what are we looking at in that photograph?
That's a closer picture of my driveway and my home.
Okay, from William Street?
Yes.
Okay. And then the next one, I believe, which is that 19?
Yes, it's 19. And
Okay.
this is the front of my house.
Okay, is that
On
from,
South Mason.
from South Mason? All right, Lynette, are those pictures, I know are those all daylight pictures?
They all are.
Nonetheless, are those fair and accurate representations of those streets in your house?
Yes.
Okay, Judge, if I may approach. Judge, at this time, the people would move to admit 17, 18, and 19.
Ms. Dye.
No objections, Your Honor.
Exhibit 17, 18, and 19 will be admitted.
Thank you, Judge.
I'm going to ask Mr. Sauter, can everyone from the back see the screen? And if you cannot, you will be able to take these exhibits into the jury room with you and deliberate. So, but if you can see it, that's fine. I see you not in the back that you can't see it. All right, you can proceed, Mr. Sauter. Apparently, if you keep talking, it'll kick on. Apparently not.
Ms. Lumsden, that's People's Exhibit number 17. And are we looking at William Street on there?
Yes, that's William Street.
Okay, I believe it says William Street.
Mhm.
I know it's a little bit darker on the projection at this point in time. Where is your house located on the screen in relation to this?
It's right there on the corner
Okay, is that white? Is it the White House?
with
On-
the like a reddish porch.
Okay, I'm just going to walk over and point it out and tell me if that's correct.
Okay. Yes, that's my residence.
And it might be a little bit hard to see at this point, but where was the street light in relation to this photograph that you described the defendant running underneath when you viewed him?
It's right there in front of that tree.
Okay. Is that tree on the corner of your home?
It is.
Okay. And again, is this fair and accurate?
It is.
Okay, thank you. Now, Ms. Lumsden, we're looking at this point. Again, is that South Mason Street?
That is South Mason Street.
And is your house the White House on the right side of that photograph?
Yes, it's black.
Is that where your front porch would be?
Yes.
Is that where you had the light on the front porch in the early morning of August 2nd?
Yes.
Okay. And again, I guess this is just a different angle from the intersecting street of Williams. But where would that street light be on this photograph?
Actually, it would be right by where that guy's riding the bike with the girl.
Okay.
On the bicycle.
So is it across the street from your house or on the same side of the street?
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Now, Lynette, did you eventually come clean to Detective Inman about not stating that Dante was with you?
I did.
And why did you wait, or let me ask you this, did you go to the detective first, Or did you wait for him to ask you about that specific issue?
I actually don't remember if I went to him or he came to me about it. I can't remember.
Okay. But again, why did you wait?
Because I did not want us to get in trouble for being around each other. Because like I said, we have personal contact order against each other. So
Okay.
I did not want him to get in trouble, and I did not want myself to get in trouble.
Did you have a final interview a couple weeks or a month or so after the shooting on September 4th with Detective Inman?
Yeah, we had an interview.
Okay. And prior to that interview, sorry, I just want to back up to August 15th. August 15th of 2019, did you have your first interview with the detective?
Yes.
Did you recover anything from the scene of any evidentiary value?
Bullet.
Okay, and how many?
I recovered 3 myself.
Okay, and were they shell casings
They
or
were casings.
bullets? Okay. And where were those casings located when you retrieved
In my
them?
yard,
Okay,
like right there on the side, like on the Williams part of my yard.
okay. And would that have been the area that Omar was shooting you from when you noticed him?
Yes.
And did you turn those casings over to the detective here?
I did.
Okay. Now, fast forward to that September 4th interview. Did you finally come forward and tell the detective that Dante was with you that night?
I did.
Okay. Did any other portion of your memory or the events that unfolded in the early morning hours change?
No.
Okay. When you called 911, did you identify who shot at you on that morning?
I don't know. I was still having an anxiety attack, so I can't even really remember what I actually said to them, to be honest with you.
Okay, fair enough. Now, Ms. Blumsem, do you know an Alexis Rios?
I do.
Okay. And how do you know her?
Around Saginaw. I don't like personally know her or anything, but we had a couple of dealings with each other.
Do you know if she had any type of relationship with Omar Morrow?
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be his girlfriend.
Okay. And I guess at that time, did you know if Dante had any beef with Omar?
Well, I know they were exchanging words quite a lot over the telephone. Then it also led to him playing on my phone, leaving voicemails and stuff. But I know I didn't really know exactly. I guess the beef was about Alexis because he thought Alexis was fooling around with her.
Oh,
But it
okay.
was really his friend.
Thank you. Now, I know I'm kind of going back and forth. I do apologize. But on August 15th, when you originally met with Detective Inman, was your car in the shop at that time?
You talking about the car, my personal car, or the car that
The Buick
window-
LeSabre.
Oh yeah, because I was getting it fixed.
Okay. And what ultimately was fixed on the vehicle as a result of going to the repair shop?
Just windows.
Okay. Was anything on the exhaust fixed?
Yep, I did have to fix the exhaust. I did. It was a big hole in it.
Okay. And was that hole there prior to the shooting?
No.
Did you notice that hole after the shooting?
Yeah, because the car was loud after the shooting.
And did you have a chance to look to see if there's any other bullet holes in your vehicle?
Yeah, there was about 3 or 4 in the vehicle, and then one after the window shot out, one went through the radio, so the radio no longer worked.
Okay. Thank you. Just a moment, Your Honor. Now, Ms. Lumsden, when I set this up, again, this is going to be people's exhibit, actually 18 at this time. I would like you to come over to the screen and point out where you located those shell casings. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Sauter, it may be easier if she points on the photograph as opposed to walking to the screen because she'll be in the way of the screen itself. Just a suggestion.
Oh.
Sorry about that. If you could just
No,
point
I'm fine.
on that picture where it was located? Okay, and that's where all those were located, right there?
Like right there in this area.
Okay, on the side of your house and your driveway?
Mhm.
Thank you. Just a moment, Judge. Lynette, just a couple more questions. I do apologize. Were you offered anything to come here and testify today?
No,
Were you given any type of plea deal or any consideration from my office to come here and testify today?
none,
Why are you here to testify today?
because I was scared for my life and I don't know if he's gonna come back and kill me.
And do you have any other reason to say that it was Omar Maru unless it was him who shot at you?
None whatsoever.
And how come?
Because I once considered Omar as a friend. I trusted him to come to my house on plenty of occasions. I never thought he would do that to me.
As you sit here today in your memory of August 2nd, 2019, are you 1,000% sure that it was Omar that shot at you and Dante inside that vehicle?
I'm 100,000% sure.
Thank you. I have no more further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Questions, Ms. Dye?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Lumsden, I'm sorry. Let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yes,
All right. Ms. Lumsden, that sounds like an enormously stressful event.
it was.
I would agree. So somebody, sometime after the time of midnight on August 2nd, shot at the car that you were in several times.
Yes.
All right. How many shots would you say they fired?
I know it was more than 9, I can say that.
And was it fast, bam, 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 or slow, bam, bam?
Well, the ones that I started hearing, I can't really say how fast they came out because I just started hearing them. But after that, it was bam, 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 bam.
Okay. How long would you say it took for the shots to, from the time that you heard them to the time they stopped?
A minute, maybe 2. Not very long.
Okay. A full minute then.
Maybe, I don't know. There's a lot going on to be trying to pay attention to time
Okay.
or counting seconds.
Would it be fair to say that quick succession shots in the amount of 9 might have been significantly less than a minute?
Might have been a couple more, might have been a couple, I don't know. I just know what was going on.
Okay. Probably your panic attack is contributing to your memory situation today, correct?
Not really.
Okay. But you were having a panic attack at the time?
Anxiety attack. yeah.
Anxiety. Okay, thank you. And that anxiety attack lasted all the way up until your first phone call to 911, it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, no, I calmed myself down really prior to calling.
Okay. So do you remember that call to 911?
Vaguely.
Vaguely. What causes your memory to be vague about it?
Because I don't remember what I said. I don't remember. Because it was too much going on. I can't remember my exact words. That was almost 2 years ago.
Okay. Now, when you're in the car at the scene and you're getting shot at, bang, 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 Dante does what?
He's telling me, look, look, look.
Okay. And what's he
But
doing?
he's driving. He's the driver.
Okay. And what's he doing with the vehicle?
Slowly approaching that because I guess he must didn't know which way to go either because we're getting shot at. So
Okay.
he just keeps telling me to look.
All right. Did he try to get you guys out of there?
Yes.
Did he try to get you out of there as fast as he possibly could?
I felt like it could have been a little faster myself.
All right.
If I was driving, I probably would have got out of there faster.
Okay. So you were driving down Williams.
I wasn't driving.
You were in the vehicle that was driving down Williams?
Yes,
All right. And you said the shooter was running alongside the vehicle on the driver's side, correct?
correct.
All right. And then you got to the stop sign at Williams and Mason? Okay.
Yes,
And you turned right there?
right on to Mason.
Okay. Away from the shooter?
Yes.
All right. And just to confirm, he was wearing all black clothes except for that white tank top, correct?
Correct.
You mentioned that you felt that you almost had to go to the hospital because you were having such a serious anxiety attack.
Mm-hmm.
Did you end up going to the hospital?
I did not.
So you were able to get it under control at some point?
Yeah, I usually can. I just have to use my inhaler and stuff like that.
Okay. But it was some point after the shooting stopped and you got away from the scene that you got that anxiety attack under control?
Yeah.
How many officers did you tell your story to that you were driving the
There's
vehicle?
2 officers there that came and met me at Rite Aid on Gratiot.
2 officers, and you told them you were driving the vehicle.
Yes.
How many officers after those 2 did you tell that you were driving the vehicle?
Believe 2.
2 more?
No, they weren't even officers. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. So I've only told 2 officers that.
And those were the 2 that you met with right after the shooting?
Yes.
What about Detective Inman?
Okay, what about him?
Didn't you tell him that you were driving the car?
Yeah, but he's a detective. I didn't consider him an officer.
Did you make any follow-up calls to 911?
I did.
Okay. And what did you tell them?
I seen Omar's car riding by me on Gratiot at the Rite Aid
How did you know it was Omar's car?
because he previously been to my house in that car.
What did it look like?
It's a black Impala, like the year 2007, 8-ish, black tinted windows, a spoiler on the back.
Okay. You know approximately what time you saw his car driving around?
It had to have been after 1 o'clock.
Okay. How many times did you
1
see him?
a.m.
Oh, I'm sorry. How many times did you see him?
That was I seen him a couple times after that. One time while I was at right out on Gratiot, and then another time when I rode by my house, he was riding up. It was either Jackson or Lyons Street.
And you made sure to call 911 both times, right?
I did.
One moment, Your Honor, please. I have no further questions at this time, Your Honor.
All right. Anything else, Mr. Sauter?
Briefly, Judge, thank you. Now, Lynette, just to be clear, Ms. Dye was asking you some questions about seeing Omar's vehicle after the shooting took place. Did you actually see Omar in the vehicle, or did
I
you?
did not.
Okay. Did you just see what you believe to be Omar's vehicle?
Yes.
Okay. But could you tell who was driving at that time?
No, I couldn't.
And I see you again wearing glasses here today as you testify. Did you have glasses back on August 2nd of 2019?
Yes, I wear my glasses every day.
And were you wearing them that early morning of August 2nd?
Yes.
Okay. And at that point in time, I believe roughly 12:30 in the morning of August 2nd, were you intoxicated at all? Had you consumed any alcohol?
No, I was on my way to go to the bar though, but I
Okay.
haven't had anything. as
Okay.
of yet.
Did you have any other intoxicants
No.
before that? Okay.
No.
And Ms. Lumsden, your anxiety attack or your anxiety that you were talking about, did that happen during the shooting or immediately following the shooting?
I really can't recollect like exactly when it started. I just knew I was having one because it just comes on like when something messed up's going on. I don't have them often, just when something's crazy going on.
Did your anxieties from that night and from the shooting cause you to have bad memory or not remember anything as you testify here today?
I'm sorry, I'm not understanding the question.
Did your anxiety attack influence your memory of the shooting?
No.
Thank you. I have no more further questions, Judge.
Anything else, Ms. Dye?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
You may step down, Ms. Lumpkin.
Want me to take this off too?
Yes. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the testimony of Ms. Lumsden. I will ask you to return to the jury room and continue deliberating. And if you still wish to have the transcript of her testimony, you write a note requesting it, we can get that to you also. Anything else for the record, Mr. Sauter?
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Ms. Dye?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
And once again, if you leave the building, I would ask that you be able to be reached by cell phone, all right? And as far as the defendant going back to jail today, gentlemen, I guess I would say wait for maybe a half hour or so in case we have to have the jury back in. And so that'll be about 3 o'clock. Haven't heard from him by then. I guess you can take him back and you have to come back, but we release him at 5 o'clock, all right?